With inflation on the rise, many households are looking for cheaper options at the supermarket. From Spam to Hamburger Helper, these underloved ingredients are having a moment. While there are likely many reasons why sales of canned beans are on the upswing, including a surge in people following vegan or vegetarian diets, one of the big ones is that they're affordable. High in protein, beans can replace meat, tofu, or mock meats in recipes, but cost a fraction of the price.
Cool beans.
Cool beans.
Cool.
Bean.
There are pros and cons of using canned beans. On the pro side, they're ready to use right out of the can. And with so many varieties available, they can be used in everything from pasta to burritos to curries. You can blend them into hummus or toss them into a salad without even turning on the stove. You can even upgrade canned beans with onions, garlic, spices, and various cooking techniques. Finally, they last for years. On the other hand, canned beans are less flavorful than beans cooked from scratch and can contain additives. They might be old school, but they have a place in contemporary cooking. What's even cheaper than canned beans? Using dried ones instead. People are eating more dried legumes, beans, peas, and lentils. Yes, people might be resorting to them to stretch their grocery dollars further, but they're a staple for a reason. It takes more time and energy to cook them, but many people feel the trade-off is worth it. If you're new to dried pulses, don't be intimidated. You can speed up the cooking process with a pressure cooker, or use a hot soak to hurry things along. Or start with lentils, which cook way quicker than dried beans. If you're still not sold, they're also filled with protein and fiber, along with other essential nutrients. So even if you start eating dried beans or pulses as a cheap way to eat healthy, you might be won over by their versatility and flavor.
Uh-oh, SpaghettiOs.
Canned pasta might seem like a thing of the past, but between 2018 and 2024, the canned pasta market grew by about $2 million a year. This is likely down to inflation and people looking for cheap, familiar comfort foods. Eating canned pasta on the reg might sound a bit bleak, but it doesn't have to be. There are plenty of ways to upgrade canned ravioli, like making ravioli soup or frying till it's crisp. You can even use it as a pizza topping. As for SpaghettiOs, they can be deliciously nostalgic as they are, but they're also easy to level up by adding aromatics, such as onions, garlic, herbs, and spices. Of course, some canned pasta is better than others, so make sure you opt for quality. Sometimes a familiar name signals quality, but small brands have also got some great products. It's not always cheaper per serving than buying pasta and sauce, but the convenience is up there. Plus, when you're cooking for one, you have to shell out less in one go for a can versus all the ingredients to make something from scratch. Rising sales of tinned fish may be a recession indicator, a warning sign of an economy about to get worse. And what do you know, online searches and canned fish sales are on the rise. That said, canned fish these days isn't just about saving money. We're not talking about people buying the cheapest multi-pack of tuna in the store. In recent years, there's been a boom in bougie varieties of canned fish. It's cheaper than red meat or going to a restaurant, but it has a luxury feel to it that people are definitely into, and the price point doesn't hurt.
Care for sardine?
No, thank you.
Imported.
There are plenty of creative ways to use canned seafood. Think pasta, but way beyond old-school tuna noodle casserole. We're talking about traditional Italian fare, such as bucatini con la sardi, bucatini with sardines. You can also add canned seafood to chowders or make up an impressive seacuterie board.
Every Friday night is tinned fish date night.
So rethink canned fish. It might be a vintage grocery staple, but this is canned fish 2.0. Hamburger Helper is a vintage classic. It's a simple box of dried pasta and seasonings that you add to ground beef, and in next to no time, you have a filling pasta dish. You might not think it's the kind of thing people buy anymore, but according to the New York Times, sales of Hamburger Helper were up 14.5% between January and August 2025. Part of the reason for the uptick is that the cost of beef has risen so much, and Hamburger Helper is a cheap way to stretch it further. It's family-friendly and comes in a range of flavors, so there's something for everyone. And if you don't eat meat, you can use brown lentils or vegetable protein in place of the beef. And if Hamburger Helper still seems too lowbrow for you, check out The Bear and see how you can upgrade the basic box with ingredients such as onions, garlic, herbs, spices, and breadcrumbs.
What do you think SPAM stands for?
A super protein ambivalent meat.
Since 2020, sales of Spam and other canned meats have been on the rise, and it doesn't appear to be slowing down. Spam, Vienna sausages, Libby's corned beef, and Chef Boyardee meatballs are among the products flying off shelves. Rather than being seen as a slightly amusing retro product, Spam is now an everyday grocery staple for many households. There are all kinds of unexpected ways to use Spam, such as in hot pots, fried rice, pasta, and soup. Other canned meats, including hot dogs and Vienna sausages, can also be leveled up. Just because you're cutting costs by using meat from a can, it doesn't have to be a boring meal. That said, highly processed meat does come with health concerns. Eating it regularly over a long period of time can lead to an increased risk of conditions like heart disease and cancer. So if you're eating more canned meat to cope with rising food prices, mix it up with alternative forms of protein, such as beans and other legumes. The market for pickles has been steadily growing for the last few years. The classic dill pickle has always been popular, but there are other types of pickled vegetables that have more of a vintage vibe. Pickled beets, radishes, and cauliflower are all part of the 21st century pickle resurgence.
I turned myself into a pickle, Morty! Boom! Big reveal, I'm a pickle!
Pickled vegetables have long been a way to stretch produce further. Packing fresh veggies in brine or vinegar was a way of preserving it to last through the bleak winter months when little grows. These days, we can get fresh produce from the store year-round, but it's still helpful to have items that can sit for a few weeks in the fridge, or last months unopened in a pantry. This can save money by cutting out some food waste. Buying fancy pickles can also be a good way for folks to treat themselves when they can't afford bigger luxuries. Pickles can add some much-needed tang to otherwise bland dinners, quickly and easily leveling them up in the taste department. Another revived grocery trend is Bouillon powder and stock cubes. They might feel like a vintage relic you find languishing at the back of your grandma's pantry, and truthfully, if you look, you will probably find a dust-covered pack of them in there. But with hiking grocery prices, people are shying away from pricier liquid stocks and broths and focusing on the cheaper powdered versions instead. Sales may also be on the up as more people are saving money by cooking from scratch. Rather than eating out, ordering in, or buying high-end prepared food, they're making the kinds of dishes that need bouillon. Some manufacturers are making a play for this new market by creating versions of their classic bouillon powders and stock cubes that appeal to a health-conscious audience. Organic, GMO-free, and salt-free varieties are becoming more widely available. You can also find a wider range of flavors these days. Pad Thai stock cubes, mushroom bouillon, and red wine stock powder all appeal to those who don't necessarily want the classic flavor profile. Plus, vegetarian and vegan chicken and beef stock is a great selling point for those looking to make meat-free meals. An increased interest in long-life dairy products with inflation on the rise may be contributing to the rising sales of condensed milk. This vintage staple is more popular than ever, perhaps as people look for more shelf-stable products to avoid waste and bring the cost of their groceries down. Another reason why condensed milk might be increasing in popularity is that more people are making food at home. Condensed milk is a surprisingly versatile ingredient. It's used in a range of desserts, but it can also level up savory dishes. You can use it to make more flavorful carnitas, for instance. It's a popular addition to many holiday baking recipes, and people are baking more from scratch since there's less discretionary income to spend on luxuries. If you want to incorporate more of this old-school ingredient into your cooking, be mindful of the mistakes everyone makes with condensed milk. Some people confuse it with evaporated milk, which is an entirely different product. Others ignore some of its delicious uses, such as in dulce de leche recipes or eaten straight up on bread. While condensed milk is a fun type of long-life milk, powdered milk is a more pragmatic one. It's a good way to save on everyday staples. It's also a useful product for people who live alone and can never get through a carton of milk before it goes bad. As such, the market has grown by billions in the last few years, and it's predicted to keep rising. Powdered milk isn't anyone's favorite, so it's gained popularity because it's cheap. That said, it's not purely a cheap ingredient people use to save money. You can use powdered milk in teas and coffees, and it's great for baking in a pinch. It can actually make baked goods more flavorful and improve texture, giving you fluffier cakes and chewier cookies. Sure, it's not the most exciting of ingredients, but there might be more room in your pantry for powdered milk than you imagined. Baking often feels like an old-fashioned pursuit. Of course, there are people who love baking today. Just look at the massive success of the Great British Baking Show. Sales of baking staples and baking mixes are on the increase ever since the start of the COVID-19 pandemic, which is arguably when people really started to feel the sting of rising food prices. Now that more and more people can't afford quality baked goods, people are choosing to bake from scratch more regularly. Why spend $10 on a croissant bun from a trendy bakery when you can learn to make them yourself, saving money and embracing a new hobby? For those who don't have the time or energy to bake from scratch, baking mixes are a good way to save money compared to buying treats from a bakery. If you're not sure where to start, begin with easy dessert recipes for people who don't bake. You can always work your way up to more challenging recipes from there. Before you know it, you'll be whipping up croissants or perfecting your focaccia recipe. Baking isn't just about saving money, but it's always nice to know you spent less and ended up with something even better. Dried vegetables are increasing in popularity as people are looking for simple, affordable ways to get added bang for their nutrition buck. They can be cheaper gram for gram, and they also reduce food waste since, unlike fresh veggies, they don't spoil before you get around to using them. Some of the dried vegetables commonly found in supermarkets include sun-dried tomatoes, the dehydrated ones, not the oil-packed kind, and mushrooms. You can also sometimes find bags of mixed dehydrated veggies depending on the store. You can rehydrate them in soups and stews, soak them in water and add them to pasta or fried rice, or even grind them into a savory seasoning powder. Whatever you choose, there's room for this vintage favorite to make a comeback.